Uhuru. Uhuru means freedom, by the way. It's a Swahili word. It's an African word. It means freedom. And I'm a representative of the Uhuru Movement and the African People's Socialist Party. We based down in St. Petersburg, Florida, and we a worldwide organization. The Uhuru Movement got started over 40 years ago, and it's still going strong in the struggle to unite African people wherever we are on the planet, because the fact is that the stories that we hear and being told right now is not different from the stories that our people have to tell all over the planet. So we believe strongly that the solution to all forms of violence in the black community start with African people ourselves getting organized to control what goes on in our community, to be a self-governing and a self-determined people. If anybody's going to have guns in our community, they should be people who obey and serve and protect and defend the African community. So we actually came into contact with the family of Tavon Grayson, which, as y'all can see, they have a lot of representation out here today. Brother Tavon is a young African, one of many young African men who the police have shot in cold blood. And I want to bring up representatives of the family to tell the story in terms of the case of Tavon Grayson, and also just to say that this is how our community needs to be responding to police murder, police brutality, police terror all over the country. We need to get organized and start to get the message out and put more people into the struggle to get justice for our entire community. And we're going to talk more about how to do that. But first, I would like to bring up both the mother and the brother of Tavon Grayson to tell you some more information about the case and about who Brother Tavon really is. So, Sister Natalia. All right, Brother Cortez, Tavon's brother's going to speak on behalf of the family, and we're going to say some more things about what we have to do moving forward.
All right, hello everybody. Well, I want to start off saying I thank everybody for being here. Appreciate all the support. It means a lot to us and our family. And my brother, start off, you know, he's a wonderful young man. You know, he's a guy of always smile and joys. You know, he's just the type of guy you like to be around. He's a guy that you know, he's a family man. He has children. Everybody in the community basically looks up to this guy like a role model. You know, he's not this guy that they're trying to label him as. He's not no criminal. He's not a violent. He's not a murderer. He's been the victim of a shooting. You know, the police had no right to do what they did to him. He didn't deserve that kind of punishment. You know, it could have been handled differently. Guns are not toys. They're weapons. They take people's lives and they do things to people. You can't just fire them just because. And I just want to say, like, speaking of him, he's a bright young man. You know, we actually, you know, we had plans on actually going back to school together, and going to school for interior design. You know, and we wanted to start a little business together as brothers. You know, since this happened, it's really took an effect. You know, not only just for the school part, but as a family, you know, we like, it's a bunch of whys and question marks. Like, why did this happen? Like, there's no answers. Like, we need answers. And he's not an animal. He's a human being. He deserves to have justice served to him. He deserves to be peace. He needs to be with his family, not inside a facility. When he's home with his family, you can take care of him and make sure he's all right in his well-being. And that's pretty much it. I just thank everybody for actually being out here for support. You know, just everybody continue to pray, continue to show support, and I appreciate it. Now, I would like to pass the microphone to my mother, right here, Latanya Magwood. Here you go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Latanya Magwood. I am the mother of Tavon Grayson, who was shot and gunned down in his car unarmed by the Orlando Police Department. The Orlando Police Department tried to execute my son. Why? We don't have any answers. They have not yet to turn in a police report. They have not yet to turn in anything. I don't know nothing. But my son had been in jail. He was in the hospital fighting for his life for probably about almost 5 weeks. They didn't want to pay the hospital bill anymore, so we'll throw him in jail and we'll put him in jail in the medical. Well, he stayed there 23 hours out the day, come out for 1 hour to call his mother and say, "Mom, I'm in pain. I need help. I'm losing my sight. I have done this, and I have asked them to do this for me. They won't do this, and they won't do that." That's what I got to hear for an hour out of every day, that my son called out that jail. You know, I need justice to be served for my son. They shot him. He was unarmed. I don't know how many times they shot. They won't even give me a police report. I don't know nothing. Nothing. It's been 2 months. 2 months went by. What do I know? Only thing I can go visit him. Why would I want to go visit my son on a monitor? My son is in medical. He lost a kidney. He lost a colon. He lost parts of his intestines. He lost a chunk out of his liver. He got shot in the head. His eyesight is gone on his left side. And he's in there. They never closed him back up. He's still open. He has a sponge across his stomach. He's living off a vac seal. If he falls or do anything wrong, he's dead. My son is dead, and that's what they want. So I need help trying to get him out of there. I need people to help follow me. If I do a rally, support me. I need that in my life. We buried his father a year and a half ago, almost 2 years. It's me. But I got my sisters and brother and my 2 kids and his stepsisters and stuff. But I need I need a community to come out and help. That's what I need to fight against this police brutality. My son is a good son. He got everybody in Oviedo. That's where he's from, a little town called Oviedo. He got all the kids out there thinking that, listen, you're going to make it to the NFL. You're going to do this. He organized a project that he go every Sunday to the park, to the Railway Park there. He go there every Sunday for 2-3 years now, faithfully. And he got a basketball team. He got all these people, probably 100 people come out there. Kids, everybody know my son. Even the police is out there know my son. Everybody know my son. So for this to happen to him, it happened to the wrong person. But, you know, we live with experience. We go through things to, I don't know. I'm not a speaker, so I'm just doing. But I don't know. I just don't know. I really don't know. I don't need to write nothing down because I know my son's story. My son's story, so.
I feel your pain.
Right.
Go ahead,
it's
take
hard.
your moment.
It's
I'm
hard.
okay with that.
But I just want people to know because my son is not from Orlando. But it doesn't matter because we all here from Central Florida. Exactly. We a metro area, Seminole, Orange County, Osceola. I mean, we here. So if I can get everybody's support and
let me hit you back up. Okay.
What are you talking about? I'm just joking. But I just wanted everybody to know my son, and I do have fundraisers because I don't have $30,000 to pay for this thing, but I do have fundraisers. I would like to, if we can exchange information and I can let everybody know when I'm having something. I have like bracelets, bumper stickers, all kinds of stuff like that, so that to help support my son. And I have t-shirts also, even though if you don't know him, if it was your child, if we was reaching out like this, and it just depends on who you know. The people that you know, tell somebody. But that's all I gotta say.
And you said a lot and enough. This is a strong black woman, y'all. Y'all give her a round of applause. And y'all, channel News, channel 9, channel 16, channel 1, thank y'all too for coming out. Listen, we moving it right along. This handsome young man, he got to say this, y'all. And I got to get on the mic. Let's go, y'all.
Family, please stay up, Sister Natalia, because it's important to say that what happened to her son Tavon is not an isolated incident. The fact is, right now, in this country, and this is based on a recent FBI report stating that every week, 2 black people are murdered or shot and killed by a white cop somewhere in the United States. Every single week in this country, 2 African people are gunned down and killed by white police. And this is based on only 5% of all the local police departments throughout the country. So, you know, if only 5% of all the local police departments submitted the report, then you know that it's a whole lot more than just 2 black people getting killed by the police throughout this country. So that's a problem. And that's what shows us that what happened to Tavon, it's not like they knew Tavon, they didn't know his name, but they knew that that was a black person. That was one of the population that they have been constructed to attack on an ongoing basis. And that means that when we say get justice for Tavon, we're talking about organizing the entire African community to get the power that we need to make sure that the police cannot continue to come into our communities and murder our people down. There's a particular story behind and circumstances behind the shooting of Tavon. I'm not from Orlando. I don't know all of the history, but I do know that where Tavon was killed is downtown, where a lot of young black people go to the club to have fun and whatnot, which we should be allowed to do on a regular basis. But as I also know, the rulers of the city have plans for the downtown area, and more you find the police acting aggressively towards young black people that come around the downtown area looking to have a good time. They treat us entirely different than the same white kids who get drunk as a skunk, running through the streets wild, doing whatever they want, and but you don't find the police running into their cars and shooting them or trying to kill them. It's an entirely different kind of relationship and response we find from the police towards us than we find from them. And we have to be able to say that. And we have to be able to expose the fact that the city of Orlando is a city where black people can't even go downtown to have a good time without worrying about being killed by the police. And we have to build a movement to say free Tavon. We have to build a movement to say protect and defend the entire African community. So like Sister Latanya was saying, we want to be able to build an organization. We want to be able to build up the power necessary to make sure that this type of attack doesn't continue to happen. So that means as the struggle goes on, there's going to be court dates, there's going to be all types of activities that we're going to need for the people to get involved in to make sure that this doesn't happen on a regular basis. In closing, I just want to say that it ain't no difference between what happened to Tavon and what the police do in Orlando to our people. This is the same thing that the U.S. military is doing to the people of Afghanistan. This is the same thing that the U.S. military is doing in Iraq right now. They're talking about invading Iraq. The U.S. Marines act the same way towards the people out there than the police act towards African people in this country. There's a war being waged against our community, and it ain't something that can stop simply by hoping that the justice system does the right thing. We know that time and time again, all these cops who have murdered African people continue to get away with it by the same court system that they tell us is supposed to give us justice. We know at the end of the day, the only way that we're going to get justice for Brother Tavon or any other African that's been killed, shot, brutalized, set up, harassed, etc. by the police is if they know that there's going to be consequences if they don't bring justice to Tavon. That's why what happened in Ferguson, Missouri was so important, because for the first time in a very long time, when the police murdered one of our people, the people rose up and began to fight back. No longer we willing to accept, being led to the slaughter like we lambs or something. The people stood up and fought back. They fought back. And that's why the U.S., the highest levels of the U.S. government, the White House itself, sent in, representatives of the highest level of the White House to see what's going on in Ferguson. All of a sudden, the issue of police brutality becomes a national discussion because the people rose up and fought back. But what we need more than anything is leadership that is rooted in the African community itself. Because what they do time and time again, the people rise up, they say, demand justice for Tavon or justice for Mike Brown or justice for whoever. They rise up, but then they send in some so-called leader who's really more like a sellout that doesn't represent the interests of the masses of our people. They send in these so-called leaders, these charlatans, these jackals, so-called represent the interests of the people. But all these forces are doing is basically telling the people to chill out, be cool, don't fight back, don't resist, let the police murder you, and maybe the federal government will come up with some investigation that can get some justice. But after 400 years, we still ain't got no justice. So we know that when we talk about getting organized, we have to build organization that we lead. You know what I mean? We have to build up demands that represent our interests. Not about getting some Negro a good job in the government. It's not about getting a couple of Negroes some money to open up a so-called social service program that ain't doing nothing for the community. We're talking about raising up demands that's dealing with the issue of the prison system. How the hell can this prison system hold Tavon captive when it's the police that shot his brother? The police are the ones that attempted to murder Tavon. So how is it that Tavon is locked up? You know, because we don't have no power. So we have to begin to raise up demands that speak to our interests. We're talking about a system right now where around the planet, y'all, listen to this. Right now on the planet Earth, 1 out of every 8 human beings that's in a prison is a black man in the United States of America. 1 out of every 8 people that are locked up in a prison is a black man in the U.S. You think that's a coincidence? You think that'll have something to do with the fact that Tavon, who clearly ain't no threat to nobody, he can barely stand up on his own, talking about they won't let him out on bond because they think he's a threat to somebody's safety. But he's a dead victim of the real criminal that's running around here. We call him the OPD. We call them the city of Orlando. We call them Disney. We call them the forces that control the economy in Orlando, in this country, and around the world. These are the ones who set up the circumstances for African people to continuously be brutalized by the police, be stuffed into these prisons like they're concentration camps. We have to build a movement to raise up the demand, free our people from these prisons, jail the killer cops, instead of spending all this money on more police to come into our communities and harass us, brutalize us, and murder us. Those are our resources. That's our money. How are they going to use our money to pay for a military that occupies our community on a regular basis? Those resources need to go towards jobs, businesses that serve the needs of the same people that they claim as the criminals, that serve our needs. So this is the type of movement that we have to build. I just want to close out by recognizing the sport bikers. Is it correct? The sport bikers? Sport riders. I want to really recognize the sport riders. I want to recognize Practice What We Preach Ministries, brothers Carl and Ralph. I don't see them right now, but I really want to express my appreciation for brothers Carl, Ralph, the Practice What We Preach Ministries, for the sports riders, for the family of Tavon, for everybody else who came out, because this is what the organization of the people needs to look like. The victims of the war against the African community, the ones, you know what I mean, who's getting stopped, harassed, beat up just for coming home from work. You know what I mean, the ones whose sons and brothers and uncles is getting locked up in these prisons. The sisters who can't even go home, they can't even go to bed at night if her son hasn't made it home safely after a certain hour. The victims of this war against the community must comprise the leadership and the organization of the community. So hopefully it's our goal that this event that's happening right now will result in establishing some type of unity, like a real formal relationship between the Uhuru Movement, the sports riders, Practice What We Preach ministry, any organization that can unite with the demands of the African community. We need to, you know, come together in a real formal way, start up a coalition. I don't know. I do know. We need to build an organization that can deal with Tavon's case, that can deal with the fact that African people continue to be harassed, brutalized downtown and throughout the city, to deal with the fact that Orlando's economy is literally based on cheap, damn near free black labor for these tourists and whatnot in the healthcare industry. Who do you think doing all that work? You know what I'm saying? But even though we're the ones working, they're taking our money in the form of fines, court fines, taxes, and all types of other fees that don't even solve problems in our community. So we want to build that type of coalition. Now, we want to, you know, close it out by saying a couple of chants. When we was out in Ferguson, I just came from Ferguson with our chairman, Omali Ishitella. It was a very powerful experience where we got to work alongside the same brothers and sisters that's making good struggles. And y'all familiar with that chant that says, hands up, don't shoot? Y'all know that one? Well, we took it to another level. Because the fact is that, I don't know about y'all, but based on the way the police act, I don't want to take my chances and hope that the police gonna not shoot me because I got my hands up. I mean, you know, based on what we're seeing, I mean, none of these brothers we talking about had a gun. Most of them had their hands up, but they got shot dead in the street. So we say, when we say hands up, we say fight back. We say hands up, fight back. We must get organized. We must resist on all levels. We got to build an organization so that they can't do anything to us without having to deal with the demands and the power that's rooted in the African community. So when I say hands up, I want y'all to say fight back. Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. Say justice for Tavon. Say justice for Tavon. Say justice for the African community. Say justice for the African community. Uhuru.